everybody. Welcome back to the Burnout Brighter podcast. This is episode 162, and I'm super excited because we have Chase with us, who's an amazing, incredible, very talented artist. He makes beautiful music. He has worked on over 21 games doing music and sound design, and I just went through his portfolio, and it's incredible. I'm not going to go through the entire list. I did write it down. But I actually want him to tell me what his favorite titles that he worked on and what he's like really, really proud of. So I won't get into that. But Chase, thank you so much for taking time to come onto the show and talk with me. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So my name is Chase Bethea. I'm a professional video game composer, mostly work on a lot of independent title games. Did a couple AAA games, but actually I didn't do a couple AAA. Worked on a couple titles rather, more like in a VR space. But the majority of my catalog is independent games, and I've been working in the industry for 11 years. I've shipped about 21 games in that time. Hope to do another 10 within a couple of years if I can do it. And yeah, I mostly specialize now in dynamic music composition. I don't do sound design anymore. I did that starting out, but this is mostly interactive music. So where the player becomes a little bit more immersed based off of their player inputs of what's happening on special events in the game. And I'm more passionate about those things. So I write the music for the game. But I'm also doing something that's more along the lines of music design. In the industry, it's called like a technical audio designer. But I work with something called an audio middleware, whereas that talks from the DAW. Excuse me if you heard that as random.
It's
train.
Okay. It's just some sound design, folks. Don't worry about that. We wait for that to happen.
The train will never be that loud. It's just, of course, when you're recording right at all times. So I don't know why I'm apologizing for the train. I didn't do it. So
some trains. Go ahead.
Get the hell out of here. So the purpose of it is just for, like I was saying, is the game. It's the music I write in the music software, and then this middleware is the in-between between that and the game engine. And so when I'm writing the music, I'm thinking about what the player may possibly interact with or come to a player state in terms of the design within the game, and then seeing how those two can enhance the gameplay in some type of emotional form.
That's really dope.
Yeah, I can go a bit on, but I think that's just mostly the core of what I'm focused on and I do now in my career.
No, that's so dope. I find music to be so inspiring. Like, it jumpstarts a lot of my imagination for stories, for like drawings and things like that. So sure. What made you decide to get into this field? Like, were you always like a video game nerd? I consider myself a video game nerd, even though I'm not very good at games, but I still love them. Was there a specific game that like kind of been like, was like, the music to this is dope? I will say one of my favorite games that I think had the dopest music that I played with my little brother ages ago was Toe Jam and Earl.
Okay, I own that game.
Okay, see, so
I own it. I never played it.
You've never played it, like the original one?
There's a whole etymology why.
Oh, that's okay. I don't know why I even reacted like that. I have so many games in my Steam library that I have not touched. So, please forgive me for that because I don't know why I'm judging. Anyways, if you ever get a chance, please play it. Like, I think it was the first game I played that felt like it had some of our cultural influence in it, because it was like hip hoppy, kind of rappy for like the 90s. But okay,
true.
I'm totally going off on a tangent. Please tell me what inspired you to do this and pick this as a career.
So I was making music on the computer 21 years ago. And even before then, I was playing. My first game console I discovered was an Intellivision. And my grandmother thought it was a fax machine. And then I was looking at the back of the box. And when I told her, I was like, what is this? She said, I think it's a fax machine. As I'm looking at the back of the box. I mean, it's valid, right? It's got little remote controls with dials. And it doesn't look like... But I'm thinking in 90, when I discovered it, probably it was like 92. I'm thinking, I've seen fax machines, and I don't. But again, I'm new to the world,
Right.
so I mean, only first grade child over here. I don't know. It could have been an old fax machine, so I'm just gonna go with it. But I'm looking at the back of the box, and I'm seeing different pictures, and I'm seeing different like pictures of like original football and American football and other pictures that just don't seem like fax machines would send this over.
Right.
And so I was savvy with just mostly hooking up her stereo systems at that age, just figuring out plugs and doing things. So I figured out how to hook up in a television and actually played my first game there. And then forward, my cousin from Barbados had brought his Game Boy, and then I begged my grandmother for that. And so I was playing games on Game Boy. I was playing N64 games in Target and PlayStation. My dad ended up having a PlayStation and all those things. And so I was listening to sound tests when I was living in Chicago. And then when I moved out to California with my mom, and I'd always been around music. My mom is an artist and singer, actress, and dancer and everything. So I'd always been around music. And the computer music that I'm talking about is music I was making on the computer. So it started out with Fruity Loops 3.
Oh my God, I remember Fruity Loops.
Before that was Hammerhead. Sorry, what you say?
I remember Fruity Loops.
I still call it Fruity Loops. Everyone's like FL Studio. It's like, but yeah. So the first track that I ever made, I probably should make this an NFT one day, is a track on Hammerhead. And then I found Fruity Loops 3 and I did that. And the first thing that I remember taking it to a bus stop was it was in probably 9th grade at the time. And I showed it to my friend. And she said to me, she listened to it, put the headphones on because I burned it on the CD. And she said, sounds like it should be in a video game. First thing she said, very first track I ever showed someone on the computer, they said it sounded like it should be in a video game. And I heard that for 7 years. Now I was doing hip hop and R&B at the time and I was pulling in this video game influence. Like I was rapping over video game things. I was flipping all this stuff. This is before Mega Ran even. So it's just that I wasn't accepted doing it. So it didn't catch on. And everyone told me it sounded like it should be a video game. It sounded like it should be in a video game. And the universe and God telling me is like, hey, you're going to be a video game composer. I'm telling you this because do this for the people. So it wasn't the first game. It was mostly the experience of being told that for 7 years, trying to do something in another industry, whereas you're not accepted, but you're pretty much pioneering before it catches on because of nerdcore, where I did this 20 something years ago. So it was mostly just finally in 2009 realizing, I guess the first influence of the game would be God of War 3. I saw a interview of a friend that is now a friend of mine, of composer, and he was one of the composers of God of War 3. And I didn't know him at the time. I just want to make that clear. Now he's my friend. But at this time, I played this game, God of War 3. I absolutely love, played all the God of Wars before. I unlocked this video, behind the scenes music, and he says, video game music is great because you can do anything that you really want in the all creative ways that you want to do. And I think that's what I was struggling with the 7 years, is that I was being told it should sound like this, it should have like that, it should have this thing, and things are moving accordingly along in a way that I'm not too happy with. But if I could have that open freedom, and I love video games, that's my first instrument. Technically, I was making video game music on Game Boy Color back in 97 Game Boy Camera and back in 97. And so seeing that interview really had sparked my interest into becoming a video game composer. So I went back to school to learn everything from the basics again of terms of music that I already had learned, and just start over, chose a different instrument and went forward. So it wasn't necessarily it had been many games I heard game music. I just never put the two together. And that's how it all started until that interview.
Okay, so that's really dope. I think the reason why I know Fruity Loops is because I went to school for 2D animation. And at some point we had to take like a class where we had to make music and put it to like cut up videos and stuff like that. And I think the first time I ever played with anything, I'm a very visual person, is I found a bunch of tracks. Like, you know how they're like all like, you can get them, like, I don't know where you get them now because this was like forever ago, but you could like just download tracks, and they came like I don't know why I can't talk, but they're like little like not triangles, but rectangles, and there's a little bit of sound, like a little sound clip.
Loops.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
So
You're welcome.
I took it into Adobe Premiere, and this was probably like, oh my God, 2004 or something. And I made music based on how I arranged the tracks, not by
Yeah.
sound.
Yeah.
So I was
Yep.
like, oh, I really like this sound. And so it was basically like, and this, I guess this is for anybody who wants to get into music and they don't play an instrument. I literally did it by pattern. So I'd be like, oh, I really like this sound. So I'm going to do 3 of these blocks. And then I like this sound. So I'm going to do 3 of these blocks here. And that's literally how I
Yeah.
was making music the first time.
Yeah, that sounds like
Yeah.
Adobe Premiere 4, probably, I would have to say.
Yeah.
Fun fact, before Adobe Premiere was that, it was called Cool Edit 2.0. And I know this because that's what I was using to record some of the music that I was doing back then.
See, like, it's all coming together. And then I got to try Pro Tools. And that was like a whole different beast. But I, like, when I tried it, God, when was that? That was probably like 2005 because I had to take it for a class.
Yeah.
I loved it. Like, it was a lot of fun. I think there was some anime. I think it was not Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell?
It wasn't Ghost in the Shell. It's the one where it's like based off of a really, really old movie, and Metropolis?
With the cars and the car chase or something? Or
no, it's like this android girl that they find. It's based off of like a black and white movie, and then they turned it into an anime. And there's this part.
Yeah, that does sound familiar.
Yeah, and then at the end, like she basically like destroys everything, right? Because she's basically like the embodiment of this like ticking time bomb, right?
Okay.
So I took that. People are like, why is she going on about this? But I took that. I was super proud of it. I took it and I put it to some music by Louis Armstrong. And I think it was, God, what's the name of that song? I can't believe I can't think of it. Where he's talking about what he sees. I see something of green. Da-da-da. It's like a really nice song.
Oh, okay. What a Wonderful World.
What a Wonderful World. And I put it to the most destructive scene in this anime. And it just worked. It was, I don't know what that's called. Like, that's a thing. It's called something. But it was just incredible. And I was like, oh, I really want to do this. So I started making music, but I kind of fell off because I think I wasn't as driven to make music as I was to like make animation. And the whole reason why I got into animation is because I wanted to see more Black people in animated films. And I wanted us to stop being like the Tolkien or like the best friend. And then I thought like the way that I went to school, a lot of people were like, you need to know how to do everything instead of like really specializing in one thing. I hope they change that now because that's a terrible way to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I thought like, okay, now I kind of know how to make music. Now I need to know how to like try to animate, and you just get burnt out because you're writing the story, you're trying to animate, you're trying to do the character design, you're trying to do the music for everything. And I think after a while I was just like, I'm just going to focus on drawing. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
And then I'm not even doing anything with that. I went back to school for my master's for 3D special effects. I've just been all over the place. And now I'm a marketing manager at an indie game publisher.
Hey,
so
check that out.
You just never know. You never know. But I still love to draw. But I'm really, the whole point of that long story was to say, I'm really happy that you stuck with music. And we were talking a little bit before about like how hard it is in the industry to really be seen. And a lot of the titles that
and heard.
Okay. By the way, guys, check out Black Voices in Gaming, which is coming out this month.
Yes.
It's super important because a lot of people who aren't minorities aren't aware how hard it is for us in the game industry and just in industries in general, especially in America, to be seen and to be heard. And Chase definitely deserves it. Oh my God. Like he's shipped 21 titles, and like if anybody at Sony is watching this, please,
yes,
hook
Sony,
him up.
thank you.
I'll tag him.
Sony, I love you.
Yeah, I'll tag him.
Tag him.
I will tag them.
Tag
I'll
me.
be like, yo, my boy Chase out here making music. Where y'all at?
Yeah, where put your money where the mouth is.
Right? Let's get some diversity up in there. But
yeah.
Thank you for sharing that story. I think that's super sweet. Like the whole thing about your grandma and the fax machine and everything like that. I love it. Because then I was
I'm so glad you loved it.
Yeah, no, I really did. Because I was like, oh my God, I think we're around the same age. Which makes me really happy. I'm not going to say what my age is. It just makes me really happy. Because like usually everybody's super young and I'm over here naming stuff and they're like, I don't know what that is. And I'm like, okay.
No, I see Transformers behind you.
Oh my
I'm
God, I
I'm
love
yeah.
Transformers. The
Yeah, I love the
1987
original
movie is my
Transformers.
shit.
Yes, with the movie. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love
I
it.
actually, it's fun. Another fun thing is I actually flipped that actual track and made a whole song out of that.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, I did the whole opening thing and did like a Transformers
Where's
like
it
thing
at?
and talked about.
Because after this,
Oh, it's on my hard drive
oh my
somewhere.
God, you have to send it to me.
It's for your ears only. Then.
Okay. Listen, I
Yeah.
will tell you something embarrassing that I tell everybody. I had the biggest crush on Hot Rod. I was little. So
All right.
people are like, ugh, like a robot. I was like 5. Like, it's not like I was thinking about marriage or anything. But I also had a crush on Raphael from Ninja Turtles. So
Ralph. And your favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie is?
oh my God. It's the first one, the first live action one.
All right, I'll give you the first one.
Okay.
Mine's the second. I know almost all the lines from the second one by heart.
Go
It's
Ninja,
insane.
go. Yeah. When Vanilla Ice was on top of his
like
game.
it. They really like it. What you call the police for? I love that.
Okay, I'm sorry, guys.
Funny.
I'm so sorry.
We're going.
We are going to have to talk like outside of the podcast because now I'm just going off on random tangents. But okay.
No, it's all good.
So my next question is, you've told us what like inspires you and kind of like what got you into making music. And in this industry, it being so hard, like how do you keep going? Do you know what I mean? Like it's really hard. There's so many times that I've talked to people and other developers who have just given up, right? So like, for example, I was reaching out to a lot of developers to talk about cross promotion. And a couple of them are like, yeah, we're just not even doing that project anymore. Even though their page is up on Kickstarter, they've just stepped away from it. So like what keeps you going? What keeps you motivated during those times where you're just like, oh, fuck it. I don't even know if I want to do this anymore.
I'm actually in this period of my life right now, whereas I don't feel like, well, I'm not being transparent. I do feel like I need to, I do feel like quitting. I do. I'm very tired. What's keeping me going is a lot of different things that I keep reminding myself. A lot of people keep telling me how talented I am. A lot of people keep telling me that one day it's going to hit. And I was just talking to my father about an hour before the podcast, and I was saying, yeah, I mean, they've been telling me that for 10 years, but so one is, I hope it's not another 10 years that it's going to be, but there are small wins that I take screenshots and I remember things. And it's sometimes it's getting that random email from a developer who's just starting and me helping them out with their game and them wanting to commission me for music. They know my work. They heard my work from the Reality soundtrack or from Aground or from any of my 12 soundtracks that I've done over the years and commissioning me for my work. It's hearing things from the community about that are people in their Ground Discord community saying you're a God's gift to music that I have to remind myself about. It's looking about where I am, where I've come from and where I am now, and now seeing how my experimentations have created different opportunities where I do more guest speaking and I'm being asked finally, like everything I normally ask for. I'm thinking, okay, even though it's not and it wasn't at the pace that I wanted it to be, it's still the path that I had set forth for myself. And it's also building outside communities of even like game developer work, whereas I'm a big retro gamer, and the reason I'm retro gaming into that and I own over 800 physical copies of games is because I use it to study game design and taking a break to remember and refuel my passion for seeing how the industry really overcame obstacles and grew over the eras of playing different games like that. And then me taking on a hobby thing, whereas I'm refurbishing games myself and I'm fixing consoles and rekindling that love that I have for the industry. So I take that into account. I'm taking into account that when I do get into a rut, I write out my feelings and the different anecdotes that I share in this, and I start thinking like, okay, I'm going to publish this book, and so I know that this book is going to help people in the future. And just sometimes just not doing anything, sometimes just really just not doing the hobby, not doing any of the other stuff, maybe just literally not doing anything related to it. not reading any news, just taking the proper mental self break and evaluating what really matters, and taking a refresher in my mind of when I'm ready to come back, then I will. And so it's an amalgamation, I say, of all those things in one. It's a lot, but that's what keeps me going, I would say, is really just putting all those things in a pot and just letting it simmer.
I think that's really one of the things that you said that I think is really important, and I wanted to bring out is experiencing burnout, because that's what that is, where you just want to quit. And sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is step away from everything that reminds you of what you're doing. And that doesn't mean you're
Yeah.
giving up. And I think a lot of people need to understand that, even if your break's a month long or like 3 months
Yeah.
long, it's totally okay. I really dislike that whole grind until you die mentality that like has been instilled in us in America. Like that's the only way to
Yeah.
reach your dream. Because I think a lot of young people don't realize that like a lot of it comes from networking and being in the right place at the right time, and just putting yourself out there
Yeah.
consistently and trying to get recognized is exhausting, right?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't cut off once you go to bed.
Hopefully remembered.
Yeah, right. No, absolutely. So like I am hoping that you get the recognition that you feel that you deserve, because I think that's one of the
Thank you.
things that's really important. And I know sometimes hearing people say like, I love what you do and I love your music, like it's really nice to hear all of that. But sometimes you just need that big person to be like, hey, I really want to stand behind you and support you and push you and get you into rooms that you haven't been able to get into.
Yes. Yeah.
So I totally feel you on that. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it goes along with my pillars of my mantra and what I have in life is that at least there's the respect, there's the consistency, and the reciprocity. Any one of those pillars that fall, usually all of them go down. But something that is that has that consistent and the respect of the work and that is reciprocated, I feel is a perpetual successful career overall in any, because it's talking about I'm behind you, they respect your work, so then, and they're going to be consistent about it. It's not going to be this 1 month thing and then dip out. It's going to be we're all the way, and they're reciprocating by showing you that they're doing the work, because when you and say, hey, I need something from you, can you do this so I can present this there, you give it to them, and then they'll giving you back the results of, hey, okay, well, we got you in the door for this, and so on and so forth. And that those three pillars are really is what builds the blocks forward for any character, any friendship, relationship, whatever it matters.
No, absolutely.
I usually share that with people and they're like, wow, that makes a lot of sense.
It does. I mean, like if you don't have the respect, and I think that's really important. I think respect is so, so, so important. I think a lot of people don't know how to respect, or like they don't really understand everything that involves truly respecting someone, their art, their craft, and things like that. Just saying you like something, it's not the same thing as respecting somebody and how much work and they put into it. So you'll have people, I don't know if you've had this happen, but you'll have people who know that you're a hard worker and will take advantage of it because they respect what you do, but not really, right? Because they don't really want to pay you what you're worth, or like, okay, but they're asking you because they know you'll put in the effort to do it. So that's not the same as respect. So I just want a lot of people to realize that that's being used, and that's fucked up. And if you're a person who does that, like you need to step or learn what respect is, because respecting somebody for their craft is not only saying, I like your work, can you do this for me, but paying them, talking about them in rooms, talking positively about them in rooms that they can't get into, opening doors for them, not gatekeeping them so that they can't succeed. Because there are people like that too, who like know that you're like amazing, but they don't want to share that amazingness with somebody else. And it blows my mind. It really does.
Yeah.
So, and that, anyways, I think what you're saying is like very on par with how I feel about things when it comes to work. Like if I start to feel like you don't respect me at work, then this is not the job for me, because it's just going to stress me out. It's the same way I feel about friendships and relationships. Like relationships, very, very much so. Because the moment I feel like you're not taking me serious and you're not respecting my feelings and you're not communicating with me, I just want to dip. Like, I don't even want to waste my time anymore. Like,
wow, yes.
Like, bye. Like I could do
Why would you? You
exactly.
deserve that.
Why am I sitting here listening to this bullshit? I could be out eating a cheeseburger or having tacos or something I truly enjoy. But
Yeah, you
anyways,
enjoy. Yeah.
I think that's really important. And also for us who are in this industry, I think it's important for us to realize when it's time to cut ties with either a job
Yeah.
or like people or even family. And I know this is going off on a tangent, but like you only live once, so try to surround yourself with as much positivity as you can because the world is already full of negative
Yeah.
vibes, and try to do things for you, not to make other people
Yeah.
proud. Yeah, and that's something that we really need to like work on. Like, you know? So
That's a big one there, and that's
mhm.
that I struggle with that part of my career and my personal life too. It's a hard chain to break, but if you can break the chain, because it's easier said than done, but the mental work it takes to get to that is really where you make the breakthrough.
When you stop questioning yourself for positive choices that you're making for your life, when you stop worrying
Yeah,
about like, how's this person going to feel if I do this for myself?
right,
So yeah, no,
right.
absolutely. God, this has been so therapeutic, and I didn't even think that it was going to be like this, but I'm loving it. I'm loving all of it. Okay, so
Me too. Yeah.
my next question is, I feel like we grew up around like the same era. Can you tell
Mm.
me like your top, I've never asked anybody this before, but I want to know, what are your top 3 like favorite games? I'm assuming God of War might be one of them.
No.
No? Okay. Then blow my mind. I'm ready.
All right. So the top 3 favorite games. Beyond Oasis, number 1.
Okay.
Sega Genesis. A lot of people know this composer for his Streets of Rage work.
I fucking love
And
Streets of Rage.
yeah, see, and
Okay,
I
the
say that, but a
second
lot of people
one.
didn't
The
know.
second one is my
Streets of
favorite
Rage
one.
2, yeah,
Yes.
solid.
Oh my
Solid work.
Yes.
But a lot of people don't know that same composer did the music for Beyond Oasis, which was a game that was supposed to rival A Link to the Past. That was their answer to that.
Oh,
It's the first large adventure game,
I'm gonna
and
have to play it now that you said, yeah,
I
because the
yeah,
music is bumping. I literally have a favorite scene in the second one, and it's like when I forgot what level it is, but it's like right after the baseball field scene where you beat up those 2 big fat dudes who look like Tweedledum and Tweedledee, and then like the field, basically the mound goes down and you're in an elevator. Like the beat to
right.
that is so fucking sick. Oh my God. I literally just play it. Like I found it on YouTube. I literally just play that song over and over again. I love it. I love it. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, give it the spins.
Yeah.
Give it the spins it
Yeah.
deserves for sure. But yeah, so just to let you know, it's not probably going to be jams like that. It's going to be more adventurous, and it's going to be a whole different direction. I actually did an analysis of it, and Yuzo Koshiro I put it out there, and then I tagged him and showed him saying, "Hey, I love the game so much, and I really like it." And he ended up following me on Twitter, so
Oh, that's
my type of like
dope.
badge of honor for my
Oh my
video
God,
game
that's so sick. I'm
inspiration.
gonna go look him up on
Yeah,
Twitter now. I'm gonna do that
so
after us, but
that's number 1. I have to say, because of just growing up with this, having it as a child, still listening to this day. I have a video game music workout playlist that I've curated myself. And I'd have to say it's Turok Battle of the Dinosaurs on Game Boy.
okay.
And the composer, Alberto Gonzalez, also follows me on Twitter. And I'm very thankful for that, because having the people, whereas when you're a child
Oh
and you never
yeah.
think that you're ever going to interact with any of these people. And now social media has made that possible with how having to spend thousands of dollars to meet them in person is phenomenal. And this music and the gameplay itself is just really, really well done and so well designed, just from top to bottom, ins and out, from the cartridge going in till you turn in the Game Boy off. It's just magnificent. So that would be my number 2. Now, number 3 is a hard decision, and it's because I'm not super sure which like the slot it feels it's going to go in.
Okay.
But I'm going to just take a brief moment to think through through the entire part of some things here. It's gonna be Tomb Raider.
Ooh,
No,
okay.
I've covered all 3 consoles. Tomb Raider 1996, Eidos. I love the game so much that I had realized that before I go to sleep at night for I think it was last month, I rewatched all of it with no commentary, just someone playing the game from start to finish. And this is the one game I actually haven't beaten myself. I played it and I've gotten to I think close to the last level. But the game platforming is so difficult on the PlayStation. The jumps, you have to time them so well. But when I went back and I was putting it on before I was going to sleep, it's so therapeutic and so cathartic. And the level design is brilliant. It really is brilliant. And again, composer Nathan Acree, he studied classical music when he was as a child through his father playing it. And the stuff he was able to create, I mean, that whole team with what they were doing, if you think about Sony Computer Entertainment was what it's called back then.
Mm-hmm.
And where they were trying to have things go it's remarkable. The sound of being able to stream the music instead of it coming from a 16-bit era, but more of a 32-bit. This is CD quality. I don't even know if a lot of people know is that if you own the actual Tomb Raider disc, that functions as the soundtrack itself. If you press your PlayStation and you open the lid and it goes to the CD player and you press it down again, if you skip just the first track, the entire soundtrack is on that game.
Oh.
So and I discovered that as a child by accident. I didn't know that Sony had invented the CD until later. And I was like, why is a CD player? It didn't make any sense. But that little cool nuances like that from having the soundtrack on the CD to the level design that they did when I'm looking backwards at it. It was hard as fuck as a child, but it is still good and in my belief, still holds up. And I just want to give massive kudos to that team. And I wish they would come back and make more games because we need it right now. We need it so bad.
Oh, yeah.
We need it so bad.
Especially coming out of AAA companies. I just feel like they've gotten so kind of bleh lately, which is why I play a lot more indie games. What's funny is that you reminded me, I think the first, I never had a CD player, I had a boombox, but the first thing that I had, which you would consider a CD player, was a Sega CD. And it actually played music CDs. I remember that. And that was my claim to fame through my big ass chunky TV that my dad put in my room. Anyway,
hopefully you still have that Sega CD.
My brother has it.
Don't let him get rid of it. And when he's ready, please contact me.
Okay, well. He has all of my dad raised me, and my dad and my grandmother for a while, but then my dad is basically my parent, and that sounded stupid. Obviously he's my parent, but
I know what you mean. It's all right. It's okay.
He got us all the systems. So my very first system, and it wasn't because he wanted us to have them. My dad is very weirdly techie, where he's he wants everything even if he's not going to play it. So the first system we got is when we lived in Germany, and he got us an Atari, and my little brother was too little to play. He was 2, so the first games I played on there I think was Galaga, Pac-Man, and Smurfs.
Galaga. Yeah. I am wicked in that game. I have a high score at the arcade, probably 10 minutes away.
Oh my god! Do you know what I just bought?
You bought the little one?
I bought.
Is that the one?
I bought the little one.
Yeah. That's the one I have. That's how I got really good. No, that's how I got better.
Oh my god! And then I have
and I love having
an arcade machine right here, but you can't see it. But I'm gonna switch
I
it
have
out
the
with the
exact
Ninja Turtle one.
Ooh.
Yeah. Because right now I think what's on it? Centipede, Asteroids, and some other games.
All the classics.
I've never even played them. So when I tried playing them, I was just terrible at it. So yeah. But
nice.
switching that out for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Those 3 in Germany, and
it's
pretty.
And I think the next one I got was a Game Boy. So my dad was during the Gulf War, and he brought us back to the U.S., but he had to go back. And so one day he sent us this box, and he got me and my brother Game Boys. and it came with a little Super Mario game. And I always remember that music, and it was like yeah. He got us that, and he got us Batman. And I remember Batman was so dark. I hated Batman, but I played it because we only had like those two
Had the two
games. Yeah.
games. Yeah.
Yep.
So you get better and you play it again. You get better and you play it again. I never played that Batman, but I played Batman Forever. And it was a tough thing between Turok and that one because the music between the two and the gameplay style is just Batman Forever on Game Boy was, I love that game so much. It frustrates the shit out of me, but I love it so much.
But thank you for sharing those games with me, because like I definitely want to check out the second one. No, the first one that you said was supposed to. Yes, because I think I have it on like my Switch. I feel like there was a sale of a bunch of games.
Yeah, the Sega collection constantly has Beyond Oasis. Yeah, so plug it in, boot it up.
Thank you very much, because I was like, I think I have it. It sounds really.
I know.
Matt's gonna be happy.
I know because I played it.
Because I like never play my Switch, but I'm going to. I promise, Matt. He made fun of me because I bought 2 Switches, but it was because at one point there was like a limited edition for Animal Crossing, and I thought it was really cute, so I bought that one, but I've never played it or opened it, so it's just sitting up there.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't judge me. I also have
there's no judgment here.
The Atari Flash sitting up there in a box that I haven't opened. And I have an Xbox over there that Justin sent me that I haven't opened.
Look, I'm telling you, you don't feel bad, because I don't want to get into, like I said, I own 800 games, and then say play all.
Okay, but see, you're like a collector, right? I don't know if I'm a
curator collector now.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm a collector. I feel like that's the part of my dad that's rubbed off on me. Like, I want to have it just to say I have it. And they're like, have you played it?
That's collecting.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm looking at the things behind you. When things aren't open, that categorizes collecting.
Yeah, no, you're right. Matt makes fun of me because like I haven't opened the Monopoly. I was like, this is a collector's edition. The plastic stays on. Like, I did open this
collector's edition.
Yeah, Storm and all that stuff. I have too much.
It's all good.
It's
something for everyone.
I was thinking about that today. I was like, if people walked into my room, they would think it was for a child. And not for the adult.
You like it, right?
I do. I love it. I love it. Yeah, no, I'm not changing it. But
what makes you happy?
Thank you. But okay, so my last question is one that we tend to ask all of our guests, because we, like I said, our podcast is called Burnout Brighter, and we really like to focus on mental health, social justice, and like obviously all things nerdy and gamey. But what's something, whether it be like a style of music or a particular artist or even a game, that has gotten you through like a really tough time? So for example, because we talked about Streets of Rage 2 is that game for me. Like when I was like awkward in high school and I would just come home like upset and like angry, I would just play that game and beat the shit out of people. And it was just the most therapeutic, because I'm not like, I don't go out in the streets for real and beat up people, but like I love.
I hope not.
No, I don't. This would be a completely different podcast if it was. I just loved like kind of like getting into that game and like not having to think about anything else and just smashing buttons. If I have to think too much, like it's really hard for me to play games where I have to like. I don't like competing games. I like working together games. But if I have to play a game that like I loved Darkstalkers, but like game. I think it's Darkstalkers. I think that was on Sega CD as well. Not sure. Feel like it was, because I'm picturing the living room of my grandmother's house, and I think that's where it was.
Okay.
But like I'm terrible at those games. If I find one move that I know that can kick your ass, I will use that move over and over and over and over. That is the person I am, so don't ask me to play those games. But what's a game that got you through a hard time? Or if it's not a game, a piece of media?
Sure. It's definitely a game. The only thing is I've had a lot of tough times. So now there's three games that come to mind. All right. Shadow of the Colossus.
Okay.
Eternal Ring and Breath of the Wild.
So why those three games?
Different reasons.
Okay.
Yeah. So Shadow of the Colossus, I was going through a breakup.
I'm
It
sorry.
was a really very, I think it was the one that shaped me into who I am today, I would have to say. And I remember I was still living home with my mom, and I knew it was this one because my energy and the way that I am as a person, she could tell that something was just off and different in what I was going through.
Mhm.
And I remember she came into my room and she said, "Are you playing your game?" And I said, "Yeah." And I looked at this game at GameStop back in the day for a time on the shelf and just glossed over it, didn't think much of it. And finally decided to just pick it up on a whim, didn't know much about it. This was before we had like YouTube reviews and all
Mhm.
the other stuff. YouTube was around, but it
People
wasn't on
weren't
the
using
level
it
where
like
you can
that,
research.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I took it home, and then it was, if you, have you played the game before?
Mhm.
Okay. So you know about the premise of the story and the open land. And then the first Colossus I come into in terms of battling and defeating, I lose my shit. I run out the room like, "Mom, this game is fucking awesome. It's like Zelda, but it's like this and it's open. It's crazy." And she's like, "Cool." I'm like, she's like, "I'm glad you're having fun." I'm like, "All right." And so I was just stuck in that world. And I remember coming across one of the tracks called Prayer, which I could now play on piano. And this is one of the inspirations of that. But Charlotte Colossus really diving into that game, finding about the time trials, all those, hearing about the story, that one really helped me escape the darkness with that was pretty much descended around in my reality. So then we move into Eternal Ring, and it's actually tied to a different breakup that happened.
Yeah, breakups,
It's many years later, and yeah, they're not fun. So thank God for video games.
Yeah.
They this one was another one I actually I talked shit about it in the beginning, and I didn't really understand how it was going to impact me because I was playing it before the breakup happened. And so once that unfortunate event happened and I just had to go through what I had to go through, I was still trying to get through this process of type of game. Now this game is, and I posted on, I think on my social media, I said before there was Elden Ring, there was Eternal Ring. So
Mm.
that will give you an idea of which developer this is. And big love to them because that it also shows a huge growth. Eternal Ring came out in 2000. It's close to like a launch game of the PS2, and the music was just like off kilter and stuff. But I grew to become enamored with this because it was really a first person Dark Souls, and not a lot of people knew about it and they're doing it. And now it's like going up in the retro community. You could tell like it's
It's
going up
becoming a
there, even
cult
though it got
classic.
re-released. Yeah, and exactly, and rightfully so. Right? I thought it's just phenomenal. At the end of it, I did another music review about that one too, because it really got me through again the tough time of just escaping the world and figuring things out and really just taking things easy and it being stressful but not too stressful, and just appreciating the design and the mechanics that went into it from that time period. And then we come across Breath of the Wild, and my best friend Afusa had we were on a podcast together at the time, and he said, "You got to play new games. You're always playing the retro games. We have stuff to talk about." And I said, "Okay." So I had this Wii U that my other friend had let me borrow, and I said, "All right." I made a deal with myself. I said, "If I can, I'm going to go half on this game with the person who has the Wii U, and we're going to get Breath of the Wild and play this new game." I said, "But if I can't turn this game on and off and get back into it like that, I'm not playing it." And I just thought that. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't go to the E3 line. And I did that. I when the Wii U, because I didn't have the Switch, and I put it on and I literally opened up the scene. And as soon as I could save, I shut it off. And then I said, "Okay, let's test it and turn it on." And it booted right up. And that was dangerous because that showed me that I don't have to deal with any updates type of waiting time. And I didn't have to do any, you know what I mean? Just go through a bunch of different hoops. I could just turn the game on and probably within a minute or two, I'm playing the game and I'm lost. And so it came to the point where I, as I was again escaping my reality of, I think I was still in college and dealing with a bunch of other things musically, figuring out if I still want to do game audio, even though I've been nominated in the industry by this time and for my music, and just struggling with a bunch of stuff that I just lost track of time. So it has a clock in the game, but it's not the our world clock. It's the game clock in the world. And I was like, I'm going to play for a couple hours, and it's 8:00. And then when I'm done, I look up, it's 2 a.m. doing real. And I'm like, oh shit, I need to get some sleep. And it happened over and over. And I was playing in the dark too. So I had no collection I didn't have a window where I was. So it was almost like being in the casino, but I was enthralled. And so when I come out of the Breath of the Wild world and I open the door into obviously where life, I'm seeing similarities, colors and mountains and little patterns of things that I see that art imitates life in this game. And I became a better cook even because of this game too. And it transformed my life, I would have to say, for the better. And I consider one of those games a masterpiece.
I love that. All of your stories were so good. Like for real on the breakup though. For real. Like,
yeah, I mean,
I start playing games I'm not even like super excited about. I'm like, you know what, whatever, we're just gonna try it. And then you end up loving it. It's wild.
Yeah, you got to try it. It's not, at least food is, all right, I might have to need a drink to wash that down. But a game could just, you're not feeling it, you turn it off.
Right. And I have so many I need to play, so it's whatever. Or I watch other people play games that I'm too afraid to play. Like I don't like horror games, but I'll watch like other people play horror games and like jump. But then I feel like I'm not alone. I can't play horror games by myself. So
that's fair.
Yeah.
Don't play the one I was nominated for, then you'll definitely get freaked out. Because I did some really cool stuff with the music on that.
Yeah, no, I'm probably gonna skip that one. Not gonna lie. I'm not gonna be like, no, I'll check it out. No, I'm not gonna lie to you. I probably won't. If it's super scary, I'm not gonna try it out. But Chase, this has been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on and talk with me and shoot the shit. It's been incredible. Look, we have to have you on again. I definitely want to like blow you up and spotlight you. So anytime you want to come on, please let me know if there's something new that you're working on. If you just want to come on and talk about retro video games, let me know and we will definitely schedule you back because this has been so much fun. But if people want to find out more about you, where can they find you?
So I'm everywhere that y'all are never there. I'm just kidding. I'm just putting my name, Chase Bethea. That's Bethea, Bethea. You put it in Google and whatever you want to listen to, whatever platform, whatever social media stuff you've got going on. I'm kind of taking a break from Instagram, but feel free to follow me there. I'm still on Twitter. And if you're a developer, if you're looking to work together, I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook, but all the music and everything, Bandcamp, Tidal, Google Play, Spotify, Apple Music, the list goes on. Stations that are not even in this country, I'm on it, trust me.
He's so famous. Oh my God, just type his name into Google.
I'm just trying to be the right frequency to be heard through the noise. That's
true. I like the way you put that. Thank you. So guys, that's it for this episode, but also you guys know that we're having a special Halloween goodie giveaway. Why can I not talk today? So we have a giveaway of some games that we're going to put in a little goodie bag, which is like not really a goodie bag because they're all going to be Steam keys, but you get the point. Anyways, so in order to be in this giveaway, you have to answer a question. And so I'm giving everybody trivia questions. Last week's question, I was wearing a specific sweater with little silver stars all over it, and I asked you what movie it came from. So I hope that you guys check that out. The second question, what movie showcases two major holidays, and it's an animated stop motion film? This should be really, really easy for you guys. You can watch this movie on Halloween and you can watch it on Christmas, and it's perfectly okay. And there's only one movie that you can really do this with. Guys, if you don't know this, I don't know what to tell you.
You may need to pull your card and your cartoon card, your reality TV show card, all the cards.
You're getting booted. But anyways, answer that question down below. And if you get it correct, we'll enter you into the drawing for the giveaway, which will happen on the 31st. So don't be
Oh,
shy. You have a computer, so you can just look it up, Yes, Chase?
I forgot to mention the first game I ever worked on, the soundtrack is coming out this month. It's the 10-year anniversary.
Oh my
So
God.
that will be releasing hopefully this month as well. It's called Electron Flux. And the game is actually still playable on Android to this day if you download it. But I've been waiting forever to kind of get this done. So I just wanted to kind of quickly mention
No, I'm glad you mentioned it. Please mention all the good things that are happening to you. Guys,
that.
when that comes out, we'll update this video with a link so that you can go find it. I know
Thank you.
I'll get it because I want to hear some of your music. And don't forget, Chase, that I want to hear the Transformer thing. So you already said I did.
Yes.
Well, all right. So, guys, love you so much. Thank you always for your support. We appreciate it. Keep watching us. We got new stuff coming every week, and we will catch you in the next episode. Bye.